For years, Alaskan Bush People has been a favorite show because it shows how the Brown family lives in the wild and rough after going off the grid. The show has always been about family, being strong, and keeping close to nature, from building homes in the woods to making it through harsh winters. People have grown to care about all of the Brown family members, but especially Joshua Bam. Bam Brown, who is known for being smart, quiet, and reliable. Unlike his more outspoken brothers, Bam tended to keep to himself and avoid the spotlight. But Bam had a tough, steady appearance that hid something that shocked not only him, but also his whole family. That moment, which no one saw coming, changed his life for good. It's still one of the saddest parts of the show's history. What did Bam Brown really do? What caused such a terrible part of his life to happen? Let us learn more about the story. Behind the tragedy, are the Alaskan Bush People real or fake? Alaskan Bush People has been a hit on TV since 2014. Fans love following the Brown family as they live off the grid, hunt, build homes, and try to stay alive in the middle of nowhere. But there has been a big question about the show for a long time. Is it real? Or was it all planned? It's been going around a lot, and the truth may surprise you. Let's face it, reality TV is often a mix of real events and drama that was planned ahead of time. But some fans think that the Alaskan Bush People may not be real. More than one former cast member and family friend has come forward to say that not everything you see is true. Raven Brown, Bear Brown's divorced wife, is one of the most vocal people who doubts the show's truth. She said in an interview that only about 10% of it is true, and the rest is made up for the cameras. She said that the Browns didn't really live in the wild all the time. Instead, they were taken to certain places just for shooting, and then took back to more comfortable places to live. Fans have also said that some of the show's dramatic moments, like meeting a bear by surprise or fixing something in time for a winter, seem a little too perfect. Critics think that these scenes are often planned by the producers to keep people interested and build anxiety. People also don't believe the show is real because the family has been in trouble with the law before. Billy and Bam Brown were charged in 2014 with lying about living in Alaska so they could get checks from the Permanent Fund. A lot of people wondered how off-grid they really were if they weren't living in Alaska full-time. On top of that, people from Alaska and Washington have said that they saw the Browns a lot in town, either shopping for goods or staying in hotels. That doesn't really fit the idea of a family who is cut off from the rest of society. But not everyone agrees with these claims. Bear Brown has said that the show is not fake. He said in an Instagram video from 2024 that the show wasn't fake. It just followed my family. He said that workers on the job site made shelters for the camera crew, but said the buildings were real and were made by the family. Alaskan Bush People might not be 100% fake, but it's also probably not 100% real. It's kind of like most reality shows in that it's kind of both true and fun. But there is also a lot of planning and editing that goes on behind the scenes. There are real people and real feelings. The beginning of Alaskan Bush People. The crazy start of the Browns' TV career. No one knew how popular or controversial Alaskan Bush People would become when it first aired on May 6, 2014. We met the Brown family on the show. They were a strange group of people who said they lived completely off the grid in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. People were not used to seeing reality shows like this one. It was rough and different. It was a simple but interesting plan for the show. People watched as Billy Brown, his wife Amy, and their 7 children tried to make a life away from modern life. They had no running water, electricity, or grocery shops. They only had the land, their hands, and each other. In the middle of nowhere, they learned how to hunt for food and build their own homes. Most people couldn't even imagine living that kind of life. The show was very interesting because of that. The Brown family was shown living in Alaska's outlying areas, such as on Chichagof Island and in Hoona. According to the show, there was a family that had chosen to live a quiet, simple life in the country instead of the busy modern world. Their home was known as Brown Town. They built their own rough and rustic home site out of whatever they could find. The show was even more fun because each family member had their own style. Billy was the boss and a wise man. Amy was a beautiful mother who kept her family together. Bear, Bam, Gabe, Noah, Snowbird, and Rain were all kids in the family, but they all had different jobs, like going shooting, fixing things, and helping out around the farm. From the beginning, it was clear how close they were and how much they needed each other. A lot of the first season was about the family starting from scratch, getting food and wood, and learning how to make it through Alaska's harsh winters. It wasn't always simple. It was hard for them to live so far away from help and deal with bad weather and health problems. The Browns kept going, though, and that drive is what drew a lot of people in. Of course, people began to ask questions soon after the opening. What happened on the show really happened. Did they really live there all year? But in the beginning, it was mostly about the journey, the family, and the thought of going back to a simpler life. What would become one of Discovery Channel's longest-running reality shows got its start with the first episode. People were interested, they talked about it, and they became loyal fans who stuck around for years. The Brown family's case of residency theft. What did really happen? You probably picture the Brown family when you think of Alaskan bush people. They would cut down trees, build houses, and live in the wild, away from modern life. In reality, though not everything was as off the grid as it seemed, especially when it came to their right to live in Alaska. In fact, the Browns were involved in the residency fraud incident, which was one of the most talked about events in the history of the show. This is what happened. There is something in Alaska called the Permanent Fund Dividend, PFD, that people who live there full-time get every year. It says that you can't be out of Alaska for more than 180 days a year unless you're on military duty, going to school, or getting medical care. Okay, so from 2009 to 2012, the Brown family asked for and got over $20,000 in PFD funds. The trouble was that they weren't really living in Alaska all that time. In 2014, the Alaska Department of Revenue looked into the case and a grand jury found the person guilty. Several people in the Brown family were charged by the state with theft and lying without a written statement. These included Billy Brown, the father, and his son Joshua Bam Bam Brown. Some of these charges are felonies, which are very dangerous. To put it simply, the state said the Browns lied on government forms to get money they didn't deserve. In the end, Billy and Bam agreed to plead guilty in 201. Aid meant that he wasn't trying to cheat the system, but he did say that he wasn't keeping good records of where the family was going. He said, "I lost track because of how we live and move. I'm fully responsible." People were involved in the controversy before the TV show began, but it still made fans wonder, how real is the show? During those years, were the Browns really as disconnected from the outside world as we thought? Even though there was a case of registration fraud, the show went on. There were a few more seasons of Alaskan bush people, but the court trouble changed the public's view of the family for good. Why Matt Brown is back in treatment. Matt Brown, who stars in Alaskan bush people, hasn't had a good time lately. The good news is that he's taking action. The oldest son of the Brown family has talked about his ongoing fight with drug abuse and has made the brave choice to go back to rehab to fix his life. It's not the first time Matt has been to rehab. He went to rehab for the first time in the spring of 2016 because he realized that his drinking was getting worse. In that moment, He said he could see himself going downhill and that he didn't feel like himself. Things he used to love made him less interested in them, and he moved more. Slowly, here we are again, another hard year with many ups and downs. Matt is going back to treatment. When Matt talked to people, he said he has had to deal with moving around a lot, being away from his family, and most of all, his mom Amy's fight with cancer. It can be very hard to watch a loved one go through something so bad. Matt was always there for his mom. Amy is now doing a lot better and is even in recovery, which is great. She wants to be there for Matt like he was there for her now that she's stronger. Amy said, "It's hard not having one of my babies here with us. I want to be strong for him because he was strong for me." Also showing his support was Matt's dad, Billy Brown. He said, "We miss him so much, but we'd rather lose him from home for a little while than lose him forever. We want him to get better by doing what he needs to." Matt is loved and cared for by his family, which means the world to him. It takes a lot of strength, courage, and hard work to stay on the path to healing from addiction. It shows how strong Matt is that he knew he needed help and did something about it. Fans of Alaskan Bush People have been with the Brown family through good times and bad, and many of them want Matt to get better after this. Matt is facing his problems head on, which takes a lot of courage. Find out Billy Brown's secret that no one else knows. You may already know about the Brown family's crazy and off-grid way of life if you like stories about Alaskan Bush People. An important fact that many people don't know is that Billy Brown also had a daughter named Tweedla Byers, who wasn't in the main group. Billy's daughter Tweedla is from his first marriage to Brenda Brown. His life with Amy and their 7 kids was shown on TV a long time ago. In 2016, Twyla showed up on the show out of the blue. It was billed as a big meeting between the father and daughter. The show said it was more than 30 years since they had last seen each other. Fans got to see a part of Billy's life that had been kept secret for a long time in that show. Twyla left, even though it looked like an emotional time. She didn't make it into the main group, and she didn't let her famous family into her life at all. She seemed to want to stay out of the spotlight and didn't have a close bond with her half-siblings or Billy, who wasn't around for most of her youth. After a few years, Twyla was in the news again. Not on the show, but in a Facebook post that a lot of her fans thought was aimed at her strange family. Twyla wrote in the post that she has always felt different since she was a child. She told him, "I've never been the typical person who follows the crowd or fits in. Yesterday, I learned from reading a few things that I'm the normal one in my DNA history. Everyday, normal, and dull, and never felt so good," but she didn't say who it was. Fans quickly thought she was making fun of the Brown family and how they live in the woods. It looked like her message said, "Hey, I'm the grounded one here," and she was fine with not being a part of the TV show. The fact that Twyla has her own daughter, Bronte Byers, makes her a member of the Brown family line. Before he died in 2021, Billy Brown actually had at least 3 grandkids. Bear Brown has a boy named River with his ex-wife Raven Adams. He also has a daughter named Bronte. Noah Brown and his wife Rain Alicia have a son named Elijah. Gabe Brown and his wife Raquel Parilla were also going to have a child. She has decided to live her own life, away from the forest, the cameras, and the attention. Also, she seems pretty content with being normal, average, and dull. That's just the way she likes things in her world. What Amy Brown did to stay alive. In real life beyond the bush. Have you seen Alaskan Bush People? Amy Brown plays the quiet but strong mom who keeps the Brown family together. She's been through a lot. She lived in the wild, raised 7 kids, and faced many other difficulties. Cancer of the lungs hit Amy in 2017, making her fight even harder than before. The whole thing began when Amy got sick. She felt weak, lost weight, and coughed all the time. The family didn't know what was wrong at first. But after some tests, the doctors told them something very bad. Amy had lung cancer in the 3rd stage, and her chances of living were only about 3%. It broke the hearts of the Brown family and their friends. It was too much for them to handle in the Alaskan woods. So Amy could get the best care possible. Her family packed up and moved to California. She had 12